Two series down as we continue things here on day number 5 for the Intel Extreme Masters Katowice, as we now have our Zerg versus Zerg rapidly approaching here, which is sure to be a fire starter of all things. Do have to my right hand side Mr. Ro12 and Tasteless, and we have Solar versus Dark coming up, 2 championship caliber players.
Yeah, this is going to be a fantastic ZvZ.
I'm not entirely sure who's the favorite. If there's a favorite, I think everybody would say, or a lot of people would say, oh, it's going to be Dark no matter what. But I don't know. ZvZ is such a volatile matchup, and I think these guys both have incredibly good ZvZ.
It's so close between these two. It's always been close. I mean, this is a rematch of the SSL finals of last year. Back then it was Solar 4-3, but if you go through their history, it's like 18 and 17 in favor of Dark or something. I mean, come on, like it doesn't really get much closer than that. It's really hard to make a proper prediction. I think the only thing we can truly say is that this is very nice for Cero, because Cero is going to be the opponent of whoever wins this match.
True.
So Cero can sit backstage, he can do his warm-up, and he can look right now at potentially 5 maps of ZvZ action, and he can really pick up on a couple of things that these guys like to do. But other than that, it's really hard to make a proper prediction here.
Well, I'm already getting word actually that our players are almost ready to go into this series. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we do indeed have a rematch from our 2016 SSL Season 1, or Season 2 even I should say, as the 2 best Zergs in the world will go head to head.
In our last match of the round of 12, we saw a GSL Grand Finals rematch, and again for our next match, we have yet another rematch between the SSL Grand Finalists in 2016. We have 2 Zerg Titans. Please welcome on stage. It is Solar and Dark!
Oh, what's up, guys? A big ZvZ coming up ahead here. The rematch of the SSL Grand Final, as brought up by the desk and Smix on stage. Solar, of course, his history remembers that he is the one that defeated Dark in a real nail-biter. It meant so much to him, and no doubt this one does as well.
Right when Dark looked unstoppable in the latter half of last year, Solar did stop him in his tracks. But then they faced each other once again in the cross finals, and Dark barely got his revenge. These guys have had such close Zerg vs Zerg series in the past, and really Zerg vs Zerg, people talk about it as this aggressive matchup. It's very wild, it's very aggressive, and usually games are won or lost in the early game, but not when these two play against each other. It's a completely different level of skill that we almost never get to see. It's just incredible. We see Lurkers, we see Broodlords, we see Nidus Worms, we see games go for over half an hour. The games just get absolutely wild when these two butt heads.
And you know what, this one, so as Pig is predicting here, this one could go for a while. And you know what, I actually really, really love late game ZvZ. I hope you're absolutely right, Pig. You often are right. You're an intelligent human being.
Oh, we'll see.
So I'll trust in your judgment here.
It is a newer map pool to what they last played best of 7s on.
That is true. Yeah.
So you never know exactly.
No more Daybreak.
yeah, we're not gonna see like Daybreak, and like Dusk Towers was a map they played on a lot, where it was like, hey, do you want to take 3 bases? I want to take 3 bases. Cool. Maybe we'll fight 10 minutes into the game.
Well, see the Dark's getting ready here. He was looking at a little piece of paper. He's like, what's my build order in ZvZ again?
It's just gotta remember to stay warm. Get ready for this match, because it is going to be map number 1. It's going to be a best of 5 to see who goes through to face Cyril in the round of 8.
All right, nerds, here we go. In game number 1 in the bottom right here. From Korea, this is Dark.
Facing off against him in the bottom left-hand side, representing Splice, the Blue Zerg, it is Solar.
Looks like Solar's got the crowd here in Poland. He's actually very fluent in English as well, which threw me for a loop as well. I was like, I like to, talk to the players when I can.
Yeah.
Generally, the Koreans, it's a little bit awkward because they only know hello and GG, gosu, chobo. That's the only words I know in Korean, so that's the only things I can say to them. It's a little awkward, but Solar is completely fluent in English.
He's like the unofficial translator a lot of the time for some of the Korean players.
Yeah, and he's really funny as well. He's actually a really, really nice guy.
He's a really cool dude.
Yeah, got to see him really come out of his shell, at least publicly, at Home Story Cup, sort of as like the unofficial translator.
Yeah, it's really nice to see because he did win his first tournaments overseas in the DreamHack circuit. He's had a few great performances at all sorts of different events. And here he is, finally having a deep run in the IEM World Championship.
No Terran this time. At the moment.
This is what happens when you throw down like a Psi emitter and the Terran just kind of run off the planet and evacuate. Leave the Zerg and Protoss to battle it out, man.
That lore reference, pig. That's even all the way back into Brood War. Look at you. You're an old school gamer.
Of course, this match is going to be really interesting. I mean, there's so many different things I want to talk about with these two, but classically, what we see between them is Dark, and this is kind of Dark versus everyone. He looks like he just always thinks he's the better player. He's so strong and he's so solid. He'll mix in these occasional all-in attacks, but like 90% of the time, he's like, I'm just going to build drones and play really safe and push the game later. And he's always wanting to push it to the next stage and push it to the next stage. And this is one of the hardest ways to play StarCraft because he focuses on this. He has more experience in these latter stages than almost any other Zerg player. Solar, on the other hand, he definitely also has experience in the mid to late game, but he's someone who is usually looking for an edge earlier on. He wants to attack. He wants to try and find openings, and he usually has much crisper pre-planned builds. He's also much more willing to take a small risk here or there. So Dark, we usually see something a bit more standard from. Solar, much more flexible.
Yeah. Of course, remember that Solar was the person to beat at this early stages of Legacy of the Void. I remember he would win every single online tournament. He was like the best Zerg in the world for a little while there. But of course, Dark didn't take him long to solidify and find his place in the upper echelons of the Zerg.
Not at all. Interestingly, Solar's gone for the third base slightly faster here. He's hidden 2 of his Zerglings, or maybe he just sent them back home, actually. Looks like he did. But Dark is going to establish his third slightly later. Both player on Baneling tech here. A great choice on Newkirk Precinct. It's a long map spawn. You want those fast Zerglings and Banelings to put on pressure to keep you safe.
Yep, just going to be Ling Bane for now as far as army goes for both players. These 2 Lings at the hatchery of Dark turning into Banelings. So he can help protect that third against Ling Flood. Solar doing the exact same thing on the other side of the map. He's got a couple... actually a couple of these Banelings of Dark are actually being used aggressively here.
A decent little Zergling commitment from both players. They're both going up to a decent number. They're going to skirmish for map control in the middle, but Dark's Baneling, sneaking into the natural of Solar. They're going to come in unscouted until the very last moment. Is Solar watching?
Oh, he's not! Oh, big hits there as Solar takes 6 drone kills. And that is going to actually even out the worker supply. Solar had a bit more of a drone lead. I guess Dark with a bit more in army supply.
Massive start.
Maybe another trade happened on the other side of the map. Oh, good connection there for Solar, getting into the Zergling count of Dark there.
Dark here with a very nice start to the aggression, taking some very nice trades. He's actually still down in workers just ever so slightly, but he's got a lot of Ling Bane out on the map. Once he shoves this pressure back, he's going to be able to exert even more pressure onto Solar.
Absolutely. Got a Baneling pick off there. Nice little pick off of Solar. Little moves like that are very, very important in this game.
More Banelings and Zerglings here, ready to start engaging from Dark. He's going to look for some more worker kills.
Ooh, he's actually going to get a couple drones here. If Solar doesn't react immediately, these Banelings are moseying on in. Should be enough here from Solar to hold. They're not going to make it to the mineral line, or are they?
Oh, really nice. Baneling takes out the defensive Zerglings, allowing Dark's Zerglings to focus down an additional drone. That brings the total workers killed this game up to 11. Very nice harassment from Dark this game.
Tech switch into roaches for both players here. So Ling Bane is done for now. It looks like Dark actually making a few more Zerglings just in case. And a nice pick off there for Solar, but he has been taking hits to his economy. Somehow still up on workers versus Dark. Dark's prioritizing using his lava to make attacking units for a while here.
His trades are so good though, and because he keeps wasting mining time, this advantage in worker count isn't actually translating into any sort of lead in income. Dark really here is just taking excellent trades over and over again, and this is really putting him far in the lead. He's already got a lair behind this. He's got +1 range on the way, way ahead of Solar on all those upgrades, while maintaining a small little worker lead and getting the head start on the Roach production. Everything is just a little bit ahead for Dark so far.
Yeah, has historically been the more solid Zerg in matches overall is Dark. And he sees Solar's lane coming in here for a look. Actually, he's going to get into the lane. Sees the lair.
That's a nice scout there. Sees Roaches coming out, sees the lair, knows exactly what he's up against. No sort of crazy fast muta play or anything like that. Just a pretty standard Roach transition.
And Dark, likewise, getting a huge scout there.
And a few more drones on the third.
Wow.
Oh, wow. This is this is Serral-esque, the way he just keeps finding these bits of damage with these small Zergling squads. Really beautiful splits on his Zerglings, just finding these openings. And Dark here just showing his class so far.
Players like Serral and Laser, a couple Zergs from Europe, that do model a lot of their play off of Dark. So they definitely look up to him as, you know, someone that's worth imitating or at least looking up to.
Yeah.
Dark's just going to park he's just the king of run-bys, man.
He's waiting for a distraction. Notice the Zergling goes into the natural. Just as Solar's attention gets pulled away, these Banelings come in. Solar's not looking in the right position, and 7 more workers go down. Solar's got to be feeling like he's taking a lot of punches here. He's getting it pulled one way and then punched from the direction he's not looking. And that's like the 3rd time it's happened so far.
There's been barely any armies engaging at all. It's just been run-bys. It's been, you know, whoops, got in, and drones go down.
If we could take a look at the workers lost, I think it's up to 20 workers now.
23. That is insane.
To 0. There's been so little pressure from Solar. Look, he's like, hey, that seems like a good idea, hiding some Banelings down there. I'll have a go.
Dark has Roaches on the high ground like, I know. It's my idea. Can't trick me, kid.
Oh,
that Roach army. Oh, boy.
This is almost unstoppable. Solar, he's only got a few Ravages. He's going to need the biles of his life right now. He's trying to throw them down, but Dark is not giving him
too
time.
Much. Dark overwhelming and picking Solar apart in game 1 here. All of the army of Solar forced down to the army of Dark, and he is just going to crush through all of Solar's mess there. GG. Dark bopping Solar there in game 1. Wow. My head's still spinning.
It is not every day you see Solar get manhandled like that, but that's exactly what Dark did. He just picked him up, gave him a bit of a shake, and then just threw him out. A very quick game 1 victory there for Dark, and that's something you love as a Zerg player, to just kind of go, oh, my run-by worked. Oh, my run-by worked. Cool. And every time, you know, it's a real mental edge to know that you can sort of dictate where your opponent's attention is focused. And that's exactly what happened there to Solar. He was constantly looking at where Dark wanted him to be looking. He was kind of taking the bait, not watching out for the other options. He was slightly slow on the uptake. So, I mean, he really needs to kind of scrape that rust off this game, get warmed up and get in his groove if he wants to fight back.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, as good as Dark is, it did seem a little bit like Solar was not playing his best. There were a lot of things that you don't expect to see from a player that is as high level as Solar. As one-sided as game 1 looked, Solar can absolutely go toe-to-toe with Dark. He's proved it on the biggest stages in the world before.
Yeah.
That's, yeah. Once more again, his willpower and gameplay, his mastery of this matchup is put to the test.
Of course, Solar did barely scrape through his group in that 3rd place.
He had a bit of a rough one, didn't he?
Yeah, I think Dark took 2nd, I believe, in his group. I think he was above Innovation, I believe. But definitely his games were more convincing and his group was a bit harder than Solar's as well, just in terms of the opposition. So definitely Dark showing some great form so far. A quick game 1 victory. The next map is going to be Proxima Station.
And let's get into it. In the top right here, winning game number 1 very handily. This is Dark.
Suffering a quick game 1 defeat there. It's his time to rally. Representing Splice, it is Solar.
Crowd stretching out into the darkness. So many Passion Lords here.
Oh yeah, and interestingly, that's a very early spawning pool here for Dark. So I think we're probably...
Is that 13-12 or 14-14?
It's something very similar. You know, we've always got the player shots at the start, and there's like a few seconds difference between them. So
we don't have our own observing computers, guys. Just to throw that out there.
It's
we see what you see.
Good chance on this map, I think, because you see, I think it's like a 14-13 from Dark. So basically, what he does is he gets 15 drones. He'll pull off gas at 100 most likely, build a whole bunch of speedlings, take an expansion behind it, and just try to rush Solar. And what he's hoping is Solar takes the front expansion, which he has. Hatch first on the low ground from from Solar. Let's go take a look at that one. Good point from the observer there. Dark's actually leaving on gas, so he's going to go completely all in. He's not going to transition at all.
Yeah, so with this extra gas, it means you get the Baneling nest as well. You get those Banelings out.
Oh,
Solar, don't, no. Oh.
A third hatchery, hatch pool hatch, one of the greediest build orders in the book, something a Zerg would only try on this map. And Dark with the perfect read says, you know what, I think you're going to try and get away with a cheeky one. He knows that Solar is the sort of player who often tries to do these cheeky build orders against him to gain advantages, but Dark is going to have none of it. He's just hiding Zerglings and Banelings, and he's going to rush out with Zergling speed and aim to overwhelm him in one clean, quick attack.
There is just, this is almost a build order loss here. Like, how do you muster up a defense when you put so much of your resources into hatcheries and drones and not into units of static defense?
Let's see that first Overlord of Solar. It looks like it's just edging in. Yeah, it's just stopped out front.
Oh,
it's going to see the Zerglings when they leave, and he's going to need to like pull Queens to his ramp as quickly as possible. Maybe use drones to help buffer and fight. And it's just going to be for Solar, build Spines, build Queens, get on that ramp. He sees Zerglings on the way out now, but only 4 of them. And that's at the same time as they'd be coming out off a more regular build. But he is reacting with a Spine Crawler. He is treating this very seriously.
And he sees the rest of the Lings with speed, and he knows now the alarm has been triggered for Solar. But is it too little, too late? The question will be answered here. The drones have been pulled. He knows that this is an all-in here from Dark, and he just needs to hold.
Oh, I love the drones here. He knows he needs to use them to buffer here. He's got to let that Spine Crawler finish. The Zerglings want to focus it down. Dark wants to take that Spine now, but great defense so far by Solar. Almost perfect defense. He's got to keep that Spine alive. He's doing well. He can't let the drones take the Baneling. It's good detonations here from Dark so far, but he's only got 2 Banelings left.
Oh, the Baneling's connecting with the drones there, and the Spine Crawlers have gone down, which means this front natural is in big trouble. The Queens absolutely cannot come down and help defend, because if the main is left open, he is in big trouble. Oh, still so many Speedlings left from Dark, and a couple Banelings. He wants to protect these and keep them alive.
The Banelings are about to finish, and
there
Dark is going to jump in on top. One Baneling does get down, another one goes down, but all of Solar's Lings fall in the midst of it. The Queens are dying very quickly, but most of Dark's Zerglings have been used up.
That's absolutely right, and Solar is not dead. He just needs to hold, and he's going to be in a lovely spot in this game. Dark heading into the main here.
Nice slip by here from Dark. He's going to go into that main base. There's no Queen in there to defend, but Dark does not have an expansion. He can't just run circles. He actually needs to do damage here.
Solar's trying to make some drones here to try and resaturate for some reason. He's going to need to get some Lings out. Definitely needs units at this point. Dark is doing nothing but producing attacking units at this point.
If Dark's reinforcements can get past that ramp and regroup in the main base with this, then it's going to be a nightmare for Solar. Solar needs to keep that ramped block. He needs to try to deal with this with just these slow Zerglings. It's a nightmare because Dark's micro is so good. He's even going to morph Banelings in the back.
Solar is onto this though, and he sees the Banelings being morphed. Even with 3 Zerglings, he could absolutely try and pick off a couple. He's getting 1, he's going to get 2. The third one will pop though and get 4 Lings, but that's still a nice pickup to get rid of those Banelings.
Solar's defense is so good, but he's pulled the Queens off the ramp. The other Zerglings are going to run up there. Oh, big blunder there from Solar. Pulled those Queens in, but does stop the Banelings getting up the ramp. He is still holding on. He's still got the slow Zergling numbers. He's lost a few more workers. He is down in workers now, and Dark is starting his transition into Mutalisks behind this. A very fast lair off one base and an expansion are both down for Dark.
Absolutely. 1 Zergling of Dark still alive here in the main, cruising on through into the mineral line and being very, very annoying. There's the Lings of Dark spinning around here, getting those slow Lings a run for their money, quite literally.
Oh, he's just going to try to buy as much time as possible is Dark. He's not trying to get a kill anymore, but if he can get that Baneling on these Zerglings, he's trying to lure them over here. Oh my god.
A huge connection there, and all of a sudden the entire army of Solar has taken a massive, massive knock. Dark still with not too much left, but he has cleaned up these Slowlings. What an incredible trade.
Oh my gosh, that was insane. The Zerglings, they all just hugged that Baneling. It was like a bunch of mosquitoes to a fire or something. It was just crazy. And now Dark is in such a good position. Solar is just here with no gas mining. He's only just put his first gas down. He has no scouting. There's still Zerglings in his base distracting him. And Dark Spire is already on the way.
Yeah, I mean, we were wondering, what can he do against the Zerglings and Banelings? He can hold, he can defend, okay. But what is he going to do against these Mutalisks? Solar surely knows that this is one of the very, very common options to follow up if this attack doesn't go, this attack doesn't end the game.
Yeah, he might start thinking about it soon enough, but I mean, these Zerglings are keeping him so busy. It's very hard to start calculating your position in the game. It's very hard for you as Solar to say, where am I? Dark with his Zerglings, he sees the drone count, he sees no lair, he sees that the gas timing is so late that Dark knows, hey, you don't have Zergling speed, you can't even have Roaches out, you've got so little gas. I don't need to worry about an attack at all, and that's why Dark has been able to build nothing but drones behind this.
And the Roach Warren is on the way, but it's not like he's going to hit a Roach timing before these Mutalisks come out. That Spire is absolutely going to finish, and there are absolutely going to be Mutas before there's Roaches on the floor here. So, still, not a whole lot of anti-air countermeasures here for Solar, apart from the Queens.
Solar sees there's no third base, but he really needs to establish his own third base as quickly as possible.
Solar has 4 Queens in total, and 3 of them are out here spreading creep and shooting down an Overlord.
Gonna have to be very careful with these Queens. Third hatchery is down for Solar. Of course, Queens can defend this, but it's just a matter of figuring out what's going on. These Zerglings finally coming across the map for Solar. It's very important they get in there and see these Mutalisks popping.
They may do. It looks like he actually will. The Mutalisks are going to fly over these Zerglings here. In fact, they'll engage the Zerglings. This is going to give Solar time to drop the Desperation Spore Crawlers if he needs. And there they go. Spore Crawlers going down in the main and the front natural. Now, there's no creep spread between the main and this front natural, so it's going to be tough for Queens to get from back, from one base to the other. Yeah. But it is still defendable.
Solar here is in a race to drone as hard as he can. He's got to build spores, queens, anti-air, but because he doesn't have any drones mining on a third base yet, building these spores and queens is so expensive on his very meager mineral income. It's really difficult for him to afford all of this. He's got to make sure he takes no direct damage from these Mutalisks. Can't lose any workers, and he's got to drone that third as quickly as possible. Right now, his worker count is down in the dumps. You might think, oh, it's pretty similar to Dark's, but Dark behind this, he is already massing up Roaches with +1. He's going to follow this up with a brutal Roach timing attack.
All these Roaches are in a lot of trouble here, Pig. He's definitely going to take a big hit to his economy. I mean, the creep spread there to the back third is not good enough for these Queens to get down here and help out. The creep spread just connecting the front natural and the main now. So the Mutalisks get bullied away, but for 7 drones, such a good move here from Dark. And like you said, there's a Roach army being massed back at home, Glial Reconstitution, and also the +1 attack for both players coming through. Solar's is going to be done quite a bit earlier, though.
Dark is all over Solar right now, getting this damage done, up to a total of 9 workers killed, and this is so good because Solar's just desperately trying to re-drone. He's building infestors, he's getting Burrow, Queen, Spore Crawlers. Guess what? None of those things are good against Maynard. A giant ball of Roaches that crash through the front of your base. Right now, there's nothing to stop that.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And here comes that giant ball of Roaches, by the way. 4 getting made here, 6, and there's already a good number of them at the front, turning into Ravagers as well. Dark shaving off these Overlords. The Queens coming in for the transfuse. They do keep it alive. Infestors on the way here for Solar. He's already got a couple out, I believe. And he's got static defense here with the upgrades. So he's going for a standard regular Zerg army, but there is a flood of Roaches. Look at that Roach count difference, 7 to 19.
He's going to need the Fungals of his life. Dark, he's going to try and go in with the Mutas first, potentially, and try to bait out Fungals. His Roaches look like they're going to commit even before his +1 range does finish. He's just eager to get in there and start putting the hurt on.
Oh, the Roach Warren and Evo Chamber at the front here. Getting rid of this Roach Warren is going to be pretty good for Dark to start things off. Corrosive Vials connecting. And Solar's pretty entrenched here. He has a Spine Crawler and he does have Fungals on the There's a nice one there for Solar. And the Bile connection will happen, getting only 1 Roach, funnily enough. And he has to remake that, so that Roach Warren absolutely needs that, so it is in the back of the third, as safe as possible. Solar
really built that very early, so he can almost immediately restart that Roach production. Solar here, though, is quite supply blocked right now. This Muta Harass has done work. And Dark now with the Roach Ravager out front the base. He's just continuing to come, and he loses a single Ravager. That's an okay trade for a Fungal. Dark can afford that, but that's a huge Fungal.
The Bile's not coming in combo, though. Dark getting out of there. And the Muta's still alive in the sky, being annoying for Solar. The Corrosive Biles of Dark are starting to get rid of these Spore Crawlers. The Queen's coming in for the transfuse. They need to help. They need to come here and defend. He's losing drones during this as well. The Mutalisks shredding apart the drone line while Dark trades against Solar's army.
Precise, beautiful, patient play. Dark not headbutting, not forcing his way in. He's just abusing the choke, and he forces Solar to come out and engage him in the open ground where Dark's better upgrades and his numbers can work. Solar's actually got his own upgrade to kick in now, and it looks like he does have the Roach numbers momentarily, but look at the drone losses behind that.
Yeah, Dark started this game, you know, fighting a guy that was being greedy, and is now at a situation where his workers are quite a bit ahead of the greedy guy, and his army is looking really good as well. Ooh, Queen being caught out the front here does go down. A bit of a whiff bungle, does get 3 of the roaches though. Nice to shave off these numbers for energy for sure.
These mutas staying alive is such an annoyance. You know, investing in your own mobile anti-air to get rid of them, things like Hydras, is really not something you want to be spending money on at this stage of the game. You just want more Infestors, more Roaches, more Ravages. And, you know, hats off to Solar for being able to hang on here for now. But how does he ever break out? How does he secure a 4th? Dark now does have that economic advantage. He's got the +2 on the way ahead of Solar. He's continuing to pick away with these Mutilisks.
Ooh, Dark catching Solar's army here.
Oh, is going to take down one of those Infestors and actually just engage the entire army right now.
That's a nice bundle on the right there for Solar. Dark trying to come in here with his concavity. It has got Solar pinned up against the wall with these roaches. Dark's army supply is an advantage. Some of it's reinforcing, and he is going to press on through. It looks like this might be it for Solar. If Dark wins this engagement, and he will.
Dark here just going from advantage to advantage. Overwhelming Solar. Looks like it's just a little bit too much. And with that +2 upgrade about to kick in on top of this, and most of the Infestors now losing their energy, he just hasn't given Solar the chance to build up a good amount of Infestor energy and Ravages. Always forcing Solar to kind of throw out those Desperation fungal growths, not really pairing them very well with the Corrosive Bile because he's on the back foot. So Dark is just not letting Solar get the efficiency out of these units that he needs.
Just a single Infestor left for Solar, and that's kind of his comeback unit. That's not enough Infestors to be able to change the tide of this battle as the Roach numbers for Dark start to go across the field. +2 attack, just about to finish with Dark as well. The most important upgrade in Roach Headbutt.
Oh, he's going to come in now. The Roaches of Dark are just too many. They're too numerous. The +2 upgrade's about to kick in, and that's when it is all going to be over for Solar. Desperately pushing out before the upgrade kicks in. Solar tries to take the engagement.
GG. Dark just seems to be in control at all times in all of these maps so far in the series of Solar. Must admit though, Solar's defense at the beginning of game 2 was pretty nice.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
Dark just using his advantage and never losing it.
You know, there was a moment there where it looked like Solar had held off against that Speedling rush. He caught the Banelings that were morphing. He was also engaging the Zerglings in the mineral line. They came in, they got a drone, and he lost most of his Speedlings for it. And right at that moment, it looked like, hey, Solar, you can go back to droning. But he pulled his Queens off his ramp right at that moment. He got a little bit panicked, and then extra Zerglings ran in. And that was really the last thing which pushed Dark into such a big advantage. From there, he was able to go into those mutas while killing drones. He got that massive Baneling detonation on those Zerglings.
Oh, man.
And it was just great play from Dark.
Indeed, a well-deserved 2-0 map score lead here for Dark. Let's go to the desk to see what the guys thought about this series so far.
Thank you very much, as it looks like, obviously, they're Dark doing very, very well for himself. You guys all right over there?
Sorry, I had a big sneeze. I didn't go out on audio. I'm allergic to great games, guys.
Yeah.
He had a big sneeze, and for some reason he thought it would be a great idea to look at me. Like, I mean, I did shower this morning.
I was looking at the light up there.
Oh
You got to look at
God.
the light to get the sneeze out.
What? Is that
That's because I'm a pro, guys.
This
Right.
guy literally just sneezed in my face. I can't believe it.
It's mostly here, though.
Yeah, great on my jacket. Even better.
All
We wear
right.
these blazers to protect us.
All right. Dark 2-0 currently looking in formidable shape. Very, very powerful stuff so far.
Yeah, Dark looks absolutely terrifying.
Yeah.
We were kind of talking about how this would probably be really close, and it's hard to call who's going to have a lead. I will say I was wrong. Very impressive games here from Dark.
Yeah, this is one of these things where afterwards, your predictions, you're like, actually, maybe I was looking a little too dark.
Like,
and then after
how
2
could I
games,
think
it's
that?
like, why didn't I just say that Dark is the favorite here? Why am I this guy? I mean, Solar has done it in the past, and I'm not saying he can't bring it back.
Yeah.
But so far in the first 2 games, Dark just looks better. He's more on point. It started off with the very first 2 Banes that connected on Newkirk, just the non-stop aggression. It really feels that Dark is always ahead, obviously with that awesome cute little Bane on Proxima.
Yeah.
But just after that, like, he's really good in creating a lead and capitalizing on it. And I'm starting to get some deja vus from Dark against Elazy, you know, which was a series at the Global Finals last year in Anaheim that we really hyped up. And then Dark just looked too good in the ZvZ. And that's kind of what seems to be happening over here. But Solar's not down and out yet. He had an unfortunate start last game. He handled the situation really well, but he was still behind. So
I guess I sometimes forget that Dark it can be, if he wants to, a really scary, aggressive Zerg. I think
yes.
whenever anybody says Dark's playing, in my mind, I immediately think of Ultras coming forward, big, massive, maxed out games, which is, in a lot of ways, for me, like the quintessential good Zerg is somebody who can go into the late game. It kind of like matches the storyline of Zerg. They get bigger and bigger, and eventually you can't stop them. But let's not forget, Dark can absolutely get in your face, do a ton of damage, and play an aggro game, no problem.
And that's why we've seen him, I guess, kind of winning out those early build mind games, where in that last game he did have such a good presence. And then it seems to be slowly kind of chipping away at Solar in terms of his mindset. He looks to be having a bit of a hard time decision-making wise.
Yeah, but I mean, it's hard, right? In ZvZ, if you're behind, you're working with the same tool. So if your opponent has more money, you really need to do something miraculous to somehow turn it around. And I think a couple of the holds by Solar were incredibly impressive. Good positioning, good balls, couple of decent fungals. But Dark just had more stuff to work with, and he also still had these Merciless. So even if he was slightly messing up a tiny bit when it came to Roach Ravager, the Mutas just made sure that was still a good engagement for him in the end, because he got so much value out of those Mutas.
All right, thanks, gents. As we do now go into game number 3 here. Dark leading 2-0 at the moment. Can Solar bring it back?
Let's find out. Great question, Kalaris, and only Dark or Solar can answer it for you. Gesundheit, Tasteless. I know how that feels, Roddy. Tasteless actually sneezed on my hand in the elevator a couple days ago.
He's just like born just with like no manners. He's just like, oh, I bless you. Like that's what people say, right? Because you bless them by sneezing onto them.
He's a train wreck of a human being. He really is. I love you, Tasteless. But we have Dark and Solar here with potentially our last map of the way Game 1 and Game 2 has been going. You got to be feeling it for Dark here, but it's not over till it's over. We've seen some big reverse all kills very recently in big stages, so it doesn't get a whole lot bigger than here in the Spurdeck. Let's do it. In the bottom right, currently on match point, this is Dark.
Man with a monstrous task in front of him up here in the top left-hand side of Abyssal Reef. He needs to win the next 3 maps in a row to go through to the top 8. It is Solar.
Send him your energy if you want this kid to get through. And, oh man, what a mountain. 3 games in a row against Dark Pig.
Oh, it's Zerg versus Zerg, nothing less. Solar here, down on the brink of defeat, goes for a drone scout. Confidence from Solar saying, you know what, let's make sure I don't get surprised again. I don't want one of these cheeky builds catching me off guard. I'm going to play super safe, except that my hatchery will be slightly delayed. I got a little bit less minerals. You can see the hatchery is a bit later. The spawning pool and gas will be slightly later. So Solar there says, you know what, this is just going to make sure I'm safe. And if I'm ever so slightly behind, I can accept that. I'm going to try and work my way back into this brute force, just playing the strong styles that I know how to play.
Absolutely. And I love that confidence is still being shown by Solar here, like against the ropes, like 1 map away from being eliminated here until Extreme Masters in Katowice, still showing that confidence. And that is the mark of a true pro gamer, someone that's had all that stage experience, that has been playing so many games in front of so many people for so long. He's worth his fan base, that is for damn sure.
Solar's an interesting character, a guy who does have great understanding of builds, one of the most prepared players going into most series. If I think about tight build orders and really pre-planned strategies, I think about Solar. Dark, he's a guy who has 5,000 well-refined moves, and I feel like he just kind of throws them together in the match like he's this just totally, bloody omnipotent being who just kind of hovers cross-legged above the battlefield, just choosing to do things as they happen because he's such a reflexive player. But Solar usually goes in with a bit more of a plan. He wants to try and get those edges out as he can, but so far, very standard play from him this series, except for that last game where he did get punished very hard when he was trying to take that greedy edge.
Yeah, it's not always super standard to go for 3 hatcheries, but it's also not super standard to go for, the 14, 13.
Yeah, especially not on, the map with the in-base natural where it's like really quite safe.
Oh, that's a very fresh 3rd hatchery here. I feel like those Zerglings would be very, very annoying. That's going to let that finish, and
Dark might just hide those Zerglings to morph into Banelings later. Yeah, they're actually going to go hide behind the hedge. The moment you see Zerglings going off on a path like this, you're like, yep, you want to morph those into Banelings a little bit later, don't you? He might also use them, of course, to scout for Solar's Zerglings hiding on his side of the map. Because in Zergling versus Baneling Wars, there's this real focus on if you can put pressure on your opponent, it gives you a lot more space to make mistakes. It gives you a lot more room to scout when they're moving out and kind of slow down their attack.
Yeah,
so it gives
everything's over there.
Exactly. And in Zergling Baneling, I mean, if they're fighting at your base, it's 2 seconds from them skirmishing with you to them killing all of your workers. But Dark here going to come in with these Zerglings, get a nice little scout off. You will see the Baneling nest is finished. Sees quite a few Zerglings and Banelings at the natural. Not a massive count, but does see a very typical opening from Solar.
Yep, full scout here for Dark. It's always nice.
Is that a second gas for Dark?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, Dark's going to go Mutalisks, I think.
He's getting a Roach Warren, but you know, you can make a Roach Warren and get Mutas as well, depending on the gas.
This is going to be a crazy amount of gas from Dark. He's got 16 Zerglings on the way. Ooh, I think he's going to go for a bigling Bane attack followed up with a big Ravager timing. This is some very interesting play from Dark. Solar, I don't know if he's going to be ready for this. He does see the Zerglings rallying out across the map. He's building more Zerglings of his own. There's so many Lings and Banes coming here for Dark.
And Solar sees them on the way, try to pick off that one Baneling, didn't quite work out. Wow, 6 more Banelings being morphed for Dark here. He's putting on the aggressive pants.
Oh, the Zerglings looking for this angle. They want to hurt this third of Solar's. Dark, really. He knows he's 1 game away from going through to the top 8, and he wants to bring the fight to Solar.
Nearly killed the Queen there. She does stay alive for now, but will she survive the next wave? There's 2 different ways that Dark can get into the bases of Solar here. And so far, he's getting so many drone kills.
The drones are in the open. 9 workers have already gone down. Make that 12 workers. Dark here, starting to shred the economy of Solar. He has managed to tie up the economy. Of course, he committed a lot to this, but it looks like he's about to get out of control.
And he's completely shredding apart this third of Solar. The army's trading in the middle here. A little bit hard to tell what's going on. The Queen nearly goes down. She does. Oh, that is a huge connection on the Zerglings there. Dark going for this Queen. One more nibble. There she goes.
Oh, the last scratch just tears her down.
Got her.
Manages to take it down, and Solar is in huge trouble. He's up 3 workers, but if he loses this third base, then he is in a real spot of bother. There's already Roaches coming across the map. A massive Roaches, Zerglings, and Banelings here for Dark. This relentless aggression is not going to stop anytime soon.
Yeah, Dark's just building units here. Not going to worry about drones for the time being, as he just making Ling after Ling going through. Oh, nice connection there for Solar on the Lings of Dark. Just 2 left here, heading into the main, having a look, but there are a lot more where that came from. We see the red streaming across the field. The Roaches are here as well. The hurt Roaches being turned into Ravagers. Solar needs to kill that egg.
Oh, it looks like Dark, maybe he's gone a little bit ahead of himself. No, he's just going to commit in the face of Solar. This is really ballsy. I think it may be an overextension. Dark's attack is held, but that is just the front runner. Look, there's a huge stream of Roaches that are only now arriving. A massive army of Dark. The workers are tied, completely even right now. But if Dark can get this third base, then it's all over for Solar.
The army of darkness has come. And will Solar hold? The third hatchery goes down.
The third hatch falls. Dark now way ahead on that production. His Roach is diving in. He's starting to focus down the drones. He's transitioning behind this. Ravagers even coming in here.
Ravagers have joined the fray. They do go down to Solar's Roaches. Solar bleeding drones here. He is still alive. And his Roaches are going to clean up Dark in the natural.
Whoa, Dark, massive damage. Shreds the economy apart of Solar, kills the third base, but he does sacrifice a lot of Roaches for it. Is there maybe a window for a counterattack? No, Solar doesn't think so. He's just rebuilding his workers.
He's trying to come back in economy. His army is up a little bit on Dark's up until just now as Dark starts to replenish his forces, and obviously Dark with a huge advantage here, and it's being shown right in front of your screen. That is the third hatchery for Dark, and Solar's lost his in that attack there. So
this is a great way to play when you're ahead. Just really going full throttle, just attacking in so many ways with that Ling Bane, just wave after wave, and even get to cancel now.
Damn.
Dark really putting all the pressure on Solar. He says, you know what? You did a drone scout. You think you're going to beat me in a macro game. Guess what? I am just going to go straight in as hard as I possibly can. And Solar just wasn't quite ready for it. Now he's way on the back foot, and what seemed like a monumental task of winning 3 games in a row seems all but impossible.
Oh man, this would be the hugest comeback that I've seen in a very, very long time in StarCraft II if Solar manages to pull this one out. Got +1 attack and Roach speed on the way for Dark as the lair is done. Solar's just halfway done now. He's coming in here for another third denial, but the army of Solar is in position this time. The Lings get deflected.
Woo! I can fly, Mom.
Observer's getting really good.
Yeah, Funker and Kevin have both gotten insanely good at catching those flying units over this week. Way too much Abyssal Reef. But right now, Dark here is just going to calmly macro on up. Solar's caught up in workers, and you can see the cost of that in the army supply. Oh my gosh, 30 army supply, a faster +1, and a Roach speed all going to time out. Dark is going to hit one of the scariest Roach Ravager timings that we have seen. This is going to be so powerful. Solar is going to need perfect corrosive biles, perfect positioning to defend.
Yeah, he doesn't have Infestors this time either, so it's going to be tough to get that incredible combo that you can get. If you're down a little bit in ZvZ, the Fungal Corrosive Bile combo can definitely bring you back into the game. But, as we can see, no Infestors. It is just the same units as Dark. And yes, Defender's Advantage is great, but this overwhelming army supply difference.
He's got to somehow get Dark to attack into a really bad choke point. That's the advantage he's going to be hoping for. He's like,
please suddenly be bad, Dark.
See those orange lights on the ground? Just run your army on top of those. Please do not dodge them. That's what he's hoping for. But Dark, he's going to come in here. Zerglings rotate and hit the natural at the exact same time. Diving on into that main base. The Roaches just run straight through the rain of biles. Completely dodge it. There's not enough meat in front for Solar. His Ravagers are falling so quickly.
And that is going to be curtains for Solar. Dark, 3-0. Completely crushes Solar on stage here in Poland. And he's going to go on to the round of 8.
Wow, these guys in this round of 12 are really just steamrolling their way through their opponents so far. TY and Zest a bit more of a close back and forth match, but this one here from Dark, a monstrous performance. Shows that he is in a class of his own there.
Oh, guys, make some noise for this player right here on stage. He has definitely earned some fans here in Poland. If you weren't a fan of him, start now. It's never too late. Oh, Dark. What a great player. Truly blessed by these games so far. And we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, interview with Dark with Smix, and then more games to follow. Do not go away.